all kinds of people scrapping at the moment. Bellingham is fighting as well. He's in a big battle with Emerson Fittipaldi side by side. They'll go through the long left-hander. How will this go? This is a big battle packed between the two.
Hey everyone, so as most of you will know already, we recently hosted a charity race on WTF1. But yeah, I didn't end up streaming any of my race, but I did end up having a rather eventful one, so thought I'd share some of my race highlights. So here is qualifying, and I'm very much new to iRacing, as you can see. And here I was just deliberately driving quite slowly to make sure I was ending up at the back of the grid because thought it was going to be a messy one and wanted to avoid the chaos. Anyway, I end up P16 out of 24, as some people didn't even do a lap at all. But as you can see from the way I'm driving, my whole plan was just to avoid the chaos, which didn't actually go very well at all because, as you will see, that's happened. I ended up hitting James Pull, who was spun around. He was actually going for a move for the lead at this point. Looks like I kind of Ricardo Ross at him, but yeah, completely accidental. Couldn't see him until it was too late, unfortunately. So carrying on lap one, and that's Jimmer off to the left, which we'll be seeing him again later. We have a lot of incidents with him. I almost have another incident with Ollie Webb here, but this time I managed to avoid it. Not sure how I managed to avoid that one, not the first one, because this one is a blind corner and seemed a lot more difficult to get out of the way, but there you go. On board with Jimmy now on lap 2, and just ahead in the orange car is me in P12, and between us both is Emerson Fittipaldi, who I was hoping that we'd have a nice little battle, the three of us, but then Jimmy decides to do this. Outrageous. Lap 3 I'm ahead of Jimmy now, and I have a huge moment going into the left-hander before the corkscrew. At this point I had Jimmy screaming on the Discord. I was a bit confused at why he was shouting so loudly at me, but watching back I can see just how close it was, especially from his onboard, and this view now, really, really close. Skipping ahead to lap 10, I'm 17th and have another pathetic spin. Just getting too early on the power. Bad times, and yeah, this ended up on the broadcast, which was kind of embarrassing, but the good side of this was it did mean that I was now back in a battle with Jimmy and Emerson again. So here, a few laps later, we have Jimmy passing me after his penalty dropped him back behind me for punting Fittipaldi. As you can see, he's a lot more confident on the brakes than I am, a lot more confident at sim racing in general. And now I've got Ben Daly, who's coming up to lap me, and Emerson Fittipaldi right behind him, who I'm fighting for position with. So I back off to let Ben go, and Emerson's like, thank you very much, and just passes me around the outside of the corkscrew. Bad times. And yeah, I was really hoping I could catch him at this point, but car was a little bit damaged and still getting to grips with iRacing. So skipping on to about 2/3 into the race now, and that's Jimmer in the wall. He was having quite the eventful race, and his crash actually brought out the safety car. So we're meant to be doing a race with no stops, but the setup was slightly underfueled, so at this point most people decided to pit, including myself. This kind of sums up how much of an iRacing noob I am. This is the first pit stop I'd actually ever done in iRacing, so didn't know how to set the fuel and probably massively overfueled it as well. And because I'm a noob, coming out of the pits had a little spin because of iRacing's infamous cold tyres as well. So onto the safety car restart, I'm 15th, and again in front of me on track was Emerson Fittipaldi. This time I was determined to catch him, so much so that I actually ended up holding Ben up here, who was trying to lap me, so sorry about that, Ben. Heading into the corkscrew, Mike Channel actually lets a few people go here, and I take the opportunity to dive up the inside and take him for P14, and then finally get out the way of Ben. Lap 23, and I'm catching Aidan Millwood now for 12th, hoping for a good battle, and instead have a massive moment, hit the wall, and at this point I felt like the car was fine, didn't actually know how long was left either, so decided to carry on. But you can see from the front facing view that that probably wasn't the best idea, as I had a fair bit of damage. So heading into the final few laps now, and I'm actually ahead of Matt at this point because he had a spin where he had to end up getting towed, but as soon as he comes up behind me, I spin off at the corkscrew, trying to let someone by. And as you can see from this view, it's really hard to see around you. Haven't played iRacing for too long, and even just being on forced cockpit mode, is something fairly new to me. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to do here was end up taking someone out of the race. So I actually just end up Austin Powersing it, constantly reversing back. Looks kind of ridiculous, but I was just making sure that I stayed on the sand because I really didn't want to end up getting back on the track and taking someone out. Onto the penultimate lap now, and felt a little bit gutted that I'd spun off and bottled it again. But that changed when I noticed that Emerson Fittipaldi was only 6 seconds behind me. So I did what any F1 nerd would do in my position, and I dropped back shamelessly to have a battle with him. And here we're catching Billy Munger here, who's just had a big crash, has a lot of damage, and that compromises my line into the left-hander before the corkscrew. Emerson sees his chance and tries to pass me at the corkscrew again, but this time I'm deciding, you know what, this is Emerson Fittipaldi, I'm never going to get to race this guy again, or probably anyone as legendary as him. So keep my foot in, we go side by side through the corkscrew, round the left-hander, round the right-hander, and unfortunately couldn't stay with him. My plan here, the blue car, Aiden, is actually a lap ahead of us, so I tucked in behind him hoping that I could get the run, but my car was too damaged at this point and I could just not catch him. So this is Emerson's onboard, where you can see that he's got a great run because I was compromised into the corner trying to pass Billy Munger. And yeah, it looks really cool from his onboard because you can see me just desperately trying to stay ahead of him, keeping my foot in despite the damage that I had. And this actually ended up on the live broadcast as well, which I was really pleased that they caught a bit of this battle.
All kinds of people scrapping at the moment. Bellingham is fighting as well. He's in a big battle with Emerson Fittipaldi side by side. They will go through the long left-hander. How will this go? This is a big battle packed between the two. Fittipaldi and the owner of WTF1 side by side racing between the two, and Tom backing out of that one. Aiden Millward up the inside as well. It's all getting a little bit dicey right now. Almost contact on the exit as well, Jake.
And yeah, Emerson messaged us actually after the race, which was really nice of him. Said he really enjoyed it. Wasn't too happy with Jimmy Broadbent for taking him out, but very much in a jovial way. And yeah, he very much enjoyed being part of this, and I couldn't believe that we actually managed to get him to do this race to celebrate 10 years of WTF1. Is absolutely awesome. And yeah, the fact that I got to race him as well is just unbelievable. So really enjoyed the race. And then onto my final lap here, desperate to try and catch Emerson up ahead, but I had too much damage and I couldn't catch him. You can see my steering's a little off as well at this point from the onboard. But yeah, really enjoyable event. Really proud at how much we raised for a cause that obviously means a lot to me personally. A little bit of a break from the livery design stuff, but we'll be seeing that on the channel again soon. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.